Nobody does this, but they should. How you've been taught how to set goals is incomplete. The missing piece, which I'm going to teach you, is the difference between you getting the life that you want or missing the mark. What I'm about to share in this video was a fundamental shift in how I saw myself and also how I saw life. Previously, I was looking at life in really small increments. I wasn't really seeing, knowing, or feeling the bigger picture and bigger arc of my life. Therefore, I was walking around with a lack of clarity, a lack of certainty, which I felt in my body, and ultimately that emanated into all of my relationships, this kind of lack of clarity. Whereas when I followed this process, it actually gave me a profound sense of, okay, now I know where I'm going. Now I'm clear. And that just began to ripple into everything that I'm doing. It was like I was really choosing my life from this broader perspective versus just like setting a goal for next year, kind of feels a bit flimsy, versus like, no, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm choosing. And I'm not only doing it for 1 or 2 years, as I'm going to share with you in a second, this is a 30-year plan. Whoa, wait a minute. Don't be overwhelmed by that. This is actually a really simple process. And from having this larger 30-year view, it actually makes the 5, 3, 2, 1 year goals way simpler because we actually have an understanding of where we're going on a larger map. And that inner clarity starts to result in outer clarity. It starts to be felt as a knowing of the direction of where you're going. Step 1 is the 30-year vision. Yes, you heard that right. That was a 3-0. This is not a 3-year vision, but a 30-year vision. How we're going to work with this is going to be a lot more imaginative. And from that space, it's going to start to open up all of the kind of deeper emotional pulls that are kind of being called of you, that your soul, your heart, the deeper part of you really wants in your life. It gets to come out here. And then eventually in step 2 and 3, we're going to wind that back. So don't worry now, we're going to go wide like a big funnel. And then we're going to wind it back into something that's really concise that you can take action on next year. So just a note, if you'd like to do this as more of a closed eye exercise, you can download my free app, the ToolBox, and go through the future self integration exercise, and it will guide you through this step by step. Then you can return here to the video. Let's begin. Big wide vision. So you write this out as if it's already happened. So the year is 2054. I can't believe what happened. And then write out the story of your life from 2054. So if you're in your 30s, you're now in your 60s. If you're in your 20s, now you're in your 50s. And you're writing it out as if it's already happened. What were the friendships like? What happened over the past 3 decades? What were your relationships like? What skills or maybe hidden talents did you discover over time? How do you react and respond to people from that space? Where are you sitting? What is your home like? What impact have you made? Asking yourself all those big and beautiful questions and mapping it out as if it's already happened. And you're really allowing yourself to imagine the beautiful arc of your life, all of the beautiful trials and tribulations, how everything wove together to make sense, parts of your life that are maybe happening right now, how they beautifully transmuted and transformed into exactly the lessons that you needed to end up where you are 30 years from now. So allow yourself some time, pause this video if you need to for 5, 10, 15 minutes and work that vision out. Do not spend too long on this. This is just to give you that broad overstroke. If you want to come back to it and refine it later, great, but just get that broad view. Do not over perfect this, just get it down. So now that you've got the specifics down, what's actually most important here is the feeling tone of this reality. So what are the feelings for you that are emerging from this space? How does that reality feel in your body? And what type of values does that you 30 years from now hold? So what is the feeling tone? And see if you can just pick out 3 or 4 different feelings that kind of represents to you. It could be that version of you is feeling incredibly courageous, generous, kind, compassionate. Whatever the feeling tone is for you in that vision, that is actually the most important thing here. Then write down the top 5 values that that version of you is holding and is integrated into their lives. When we set goals outside of ourselves, it can be very easy to get lost in them. Whereas actually what we're wanting, no matter what it is, the relationship, the money, the car, the notoriety, all of those things have a feeling tone that give us an experiential feeling. Like that's what we're really wanting. And when we can actually bring more and more of that into our lives, and as we do that and integrate that two things happen, which one is kind of ironic. The first is that because we're in the feeling tone, we kind of attract and magnetize that life to us. We have a high intention for it, but a low attachment. The other piece is that we're already kind of in the energy, so it doesn't really matter if we get it or not in terms of the details, because we're already living it now and we get to experience that every single day. So you're already winning, which actually allows you to show up and be more process oriented versus getting hung up and stuck on the outcomes. So we're going to use those feelings and those values as our North Star. That's the compass for where we're heading. Now that we have that 30-year process, we're going to go through the 10-3-1 process. The first piece of that is what are 10 things in the next 10 years that are an absolute must. This isn't a maybe, these aren't negotiables. It's the 10 things that are an absolute must for you to be in that place 30 years from now. Now, these can be internal and external goals. In fact, I'd actually recommend that it kind of must be both, because if in your 50s or 60s or 70s you were living peacefully with thriving relationships, then maybe one of your goals would be to transform your anger into peace and resiliency. You have incredible emotional flexibility, incredible communication skills. You show up, you're present, so on and so forth. And another piece might be you wanted to have your own home or own set of homes for you and your family, and you put that in there too. So weave in whatever is necessary, the 10 most important things in the next 10 years. The second piece, that is to look at the 3 goals, the 3 musts in the next 3 years for you. So write down exactly what that must be for you, internal, external, so that you can make the 10-year vision and you can make the 30-year vision. As you can probably feel already if you're doing this as we're going, a sense of clarity and power that actually comes when we actually work out where we're going and what's most important for us to do right now. Just a quick tip, if you're getting lost as you're going through this process, I recommend that you go back to that version of yourself who had already completed this. Not just conceptually, but also feel what it felt like to be them. Like get into the state upon which all of those things were an obvious done from. So whatever those emotions were that we talked about before, get those emotions into your body, feel as if you're in that place now, and then just trust that you'll know the answer of what that version of you would do through your 30s, through your 40s, through your 50s, so that you could arrive at that place. So lastly, 1 goal, 1 year. We're gonna keep it really simple. You know where you're going in 10 years, you know where you're going in 3. What is the one most important thing so you can have crystal clarity on exactly where you're going this next year? What is that one most important thing for you? Most of us set multiple goals, and in the doing of that, we can diffuse, we can lose our power in our sight. In fact, sometimes some people set so many goals as a way to actually avoid what they're actually here to do. When you can condense it into the most important goal, that keeps it as your North Star, so you actually have the most clarity and the most power and the most probability of actually seeing that goal through. And the truth is, if most of us just made one great shift each year in our lives over the course of 3, 5, 10, 20 years, we would create exponential growth. Most people aren't doing this, but I know you're not most people. So step 3, the last part, now that we have clarity in terms of direction, we know the actions that we might have to take. The third part is actually being in the right state, being in the state of that future vision now. So the more that we're living into that, we're embodying the energy of which is attracting that life. So this is a 2-part piece. The first is what are the practices that are going to allow us to live in that state now? For some people, it might be meditation, breath work, ice baths, dancing, drawing, painting, playing music, whatever helps you access that state and begin to infuse your body, infuse your life with it so you can bring that out into your day. That's the first part. The second part is actually doing any cleanup work, which is the part that most people miss, so that the experienced state starts to become lived traits. So there are things that your future self had healed, transformed, transmuted out of their body, out of their energies, beliefs that they let go of, relationships they let go of, certain things that they were holding and carrying that they let go of so that they could actually mature into the powerful, radiant energy that they are. So 2-part piece, what are going to be the supportive practices in your life to bring and infuse that energy of your future self now? And then the second piece is what are the things that need to be let go of, transmuted and transformed so that that experienced state becomes your lived trait now. And there are 3 fundamental systems that you need to learn to master in order to do that. The first is the attachment system. The second is the nervous system. And the third is the attentional system. To learn how to master these, watch this video.